Hi everyone, Petrik here. In today's video, I'll be talking about all the books that I bought and were gifted to me in the month of August. And unlike usual, although I'm always dividing this into 4 sections, which I will be doing again in this book haul video, but unlike usual, the first section where I showcase the books that I bought, usually that's not too many compared to the other sections, but this time it is a lot because almost every book that I pre-ordered and ordered have arrived. And where do I order them? Well, surprisingly, through Amazon and Book Outlet. Now, this is only possible because one of my patrons named Arliss, sometimes you will see Arliss comments on my YouTube videos. So Arliss, after knowing that Book Depository has closed down and Blackwells have stopped shipping books to my place, Arliss offered to send me books for free from US. And on top of that, she also wanted to give me some books, and I think this is genuinely super kind of her, and it makes me also realize just how amazing it is to have access to Amazon, Book Outlet, and Barnes & Nobles and many other bookstores in US or even UK. Seriously, it is incredible, and do not treat that lightly. Not every other country have that kind of access to books like mine. Even though I still have access to my local bookstore, but the selection and the collection isn't too complete, especially for adult fantasy and sci-fi books that I usually read, and they take a while to arrive, plus expensive as well. And because of this rare opportunity, I decided to, well, do a massive book haul. And this month, I received in total 34 books out of everything, out of all the books that I bought, sent to me by publishers, gifted to me, and also sent to me by self-published fantasy authors. Yeah, 34 books is a lot. Again, it is crazy. I know the number of books that I got within this month and also the past 3 months have been pretty insane. More than 100 books already in the past 4 months. And I'm truly grateful, and also, yeah, I have to really maintain and control my spending on books. So yeah, that's a long introduction. Let's just get started. And the first one, before I talk about all the books that I bought from Amazon and Book Outlet, I want to showcase this Secret Project 3, Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, this is the most beautiful secret project out of all the secret projects so far, and it is also my favorite of the secret project novels by Brandon Sanderson. Not only that, really, it is one of my favorite standalone novels by Sanderson. I think it is amazing. I don't usually read romance, but I think in this one, he really nailed it. Plus, this book, it comes with a lot of beautiful illustrations by Wrightson, one of my favorite artists, and yeah, I think it is just beautiful. It is so worth it getting this edition. Hold on, I'm going to show, of course, just one artwork here. See? It is so pretty. Looking at this in person is so much better than looking at it digitally. It's incredible, so beautiful, and I'm glad I have a copy of this one now in my collection. And it's not only that, here's the first one that I bought from Book Outlet, and it is Legion and the Many Lives of Stephen Leeds. This doesn't take place in the Cosmere like Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, but I really love this one. Well, it's not one of my favorite books. This is a collection of 3 novellas put into one omnibus. See, it is still very short. And it was one of my first experience reading Brandon Sanderson's books outside of the Cosmere. And I definitely did not regret it. I think this one is pretty good. A great urban fantasy series, and if you want to read an accessible and engaging urban fantasy series, try reading this one. Also, in the 3rd book, I remember there was something that really reflects Brandon Sanderson's thoughts about writing his own books. Something like that. It felt personal, and without spoilers, I think if you are a fan of Brandon Sanderson's books, you will love what he put in there. Or maybe it might be too distracting for you, because I know some readers have mentioned it was too distracting to their immersion to read Brandon Sanderson's thoughts like that in the character. And then let's move on to the next book that I bought from Book Outlet. It was Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Yeah, it is a classic. I already know about the story of Frankenstein, but to be honest, I still haven't read this book to the fullest yet. Yeah, I never completed reading Frankenstein. And when I saw this absolutely gorgeous edition of Frankenstein on Book Outlet, I immediately bought it. This one features illustrations by Bernie Wrightson and introduction by Stephen King. And I need to show you this artwork. This is just the front, and inside there are so many artwork by Bernie Wrightson. Bernie Wrightson was a great artist, and I think it's kind of cool to get this book with an illustration by him. Hold on, I'm going to show 1 or 2. Ta-da! Let's show one more, and then I'm going, ta-da! I'm looking forward to reading Frankenstein for the first time with this beautiful edition. Look at this cover art. I cannot get enough of this. And that's not the only classic I got from Book Outlet. Well, apparently, because I bought Frankenstein, Book Outlet sent me one extra book as a gift. And it is The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Leo Tolstoy. Not really sure what this is about, but it's only about 100 pages long. Yeah, that's also with introduction included. So this is a very short book, and I think this is a story about life and death, I think. Yeah, I will read this one someday, and I am behind on so many classics, so many popular classics, and this is probably another one of them. And yes, of course, I haven't read War and Peace. And moving on to the last book that I bought from Book Outlet, it is The Fall of Numenor by Tolkien. Yeah, I finally have this copy. This is one of the few books by J.R.R. Tolkien that I haven't read yet, but if I'm not mistaken, this one compiled all the stories of the Second Age in the Middle-earth, but it is compiled chronologically. And yes, this one has an illustration by Alan Lee, one of my favorite artists. And of course, Alan Lee is one of the most iconic artists in the world of Middle-earth, together with John Howe and Ted Nasmith. And I'm really glad I finally have this copy. The Tale of the Second Age is something that is not too familiar for me, and I want to dive into it as soon as I can. And with that in mind, now it's time to showcase why my book haul is so big this month, because I bought so many Tolkien's books. I decided to upgrade my collection of Tolkien's books. And yeah, now it's time to show you the books that I got from Amazon. And the first one is an upgrade to the Three Great Tales of Middle-earth. Yeah, this is The Children of Húrin, Beren and Luthien, and The Fall of Gondolin in hardcover. Yeah, I saw this one on Amazon. It was discounted at 50%. I did not even need the thing. I love The Children of Húrin very much. I think it is my favorite books by Tolkien. And because I have decided to eventually do a reread of the entire Middle-earth stories, I might as well get a hardcover copy of the entire trilogy for this trilogy. But not only that, but before that, I want to showcase this beautiful hardcover first. Ta-da! This is The Children of Húrin, and then this is Beren and Luthien, and finally, The Fall of Gondolin. And yes, all three of them have illustrations by Alan Lee, interior artwork and cover art by Alan Lee. So for the Three Great Tales of Middle-earth, that was an upgrade because I already own the paperback copy of the Three Great Tales of Middle-earth, and I decided to upgrade them to hardcovers now. But for this next one, I never owned this and I never read it. So this one is The Unfinished Tales of Numenor and Middle-earth. And this one have illustrations by Alan Lee, John Howe, and Ted Nasmith. All three of them have featured their illustrations inside this book, and they are just so gorgeous. I'm not even sure what the content of this book will be other than what it said in the title, but you know what? I look forward to reading it eventually. See, this is just one of the artwork here. I believe this one is done by John Howe, and yeah, it is amazing. He's an incredible artist, and I think eventually I will try to get the Middle-earth Traveler art book by him. Looking forward to eventually getting that one. But the next one that I'm going to show you is not that. It is Tales from the Perilous Realm by J.R.R. Tolkien, with an illustration again by Alan Lee. As I said, I am upgrading and getting many books by Tolkien here. I want to have them in my collection of books to reread and read someday. And yeah, this one, I'm not too sure what this is about. I think this is a collection of short stories. At the back, it is written that it contained 5 classic tales by the author of The Hobbit, Tolkien, Rover Random, Farmer Giles of Ham, The Adventures of Tom Bombadil, oh god, I don't like that guy, and then Smith of Wootton Major, Lived by Nigel. Let's see whether I will end up loving this one or not. If you have read this, do let me know whether this is very important tales in the Middle-earth or not. Because from the back, it seems like there is only one tale that is a part of Middle-earth, but again, I could be wrong on this. So that's for the Tolkien stuff that I bought from Book Outlet and also from Amazon. But from Amazon, I still bought 2 more books, and those are, the first one is the Volume 12 of Berserk Deluxe Hardcover Edition. I am getting closer and closer to completing my collection of Berserk Deluxe Hardcover, and I'm glad, but also think sometimes, wow, so much money was spent to collect this hardcover edition. But I will not regret this. I read Berserk many times, and I know I will read Berserk from the beginning again. And this time, the next time I read Berserk, I will do it from the Berserk Deluxe Hardcover Edition. And yes, this is beautiful. it is so massive, and at the back and at the front we have this beautiful artwork by Kentaro Miura. I still think Kentaro Miura will always remain a legend in the art of storytelling and also manga. And finally, for the last book that I bought from Amazon, it was for Dune by Frank Herbert. Yeah, I think this is called the deluxe edition, published by Ace. And yeah, it is beautiful. Love this edition so much. And because I really love watching the movie adaptation of Dune directed by Denis Villeneuve, I know I will reread Dune and then eventually continue to the second book and third book, at least. Yes, Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. Yeah, I will eventually continue to those two. But before that, I definitely will have to do a second read of Dune, and I've decided to do it with this beautiful edition. It's so pretty, the hardcover is beautiful, and it comes with a beautiful end paper as well. And I think the artwork is done by Nasmith. I think that's the name. Oh, sorry, it's Matt Griffin. Yeah, the artwork is done by Matt Griffin, and this comes with a reversible dust jacket. Ta-da! So pretty. I think eventually I will try using this as the front cover instead. But not only that, the naked hardcover features the word "Fear is the mind killer." So gorgeous, and I'm glad I decided to buy this beautiful edition when it was, I think, during Amazon Prime Day. Yeah, it was discounted really crazily, and of course I have to get it. So that's it for all the books that I bought from Amazon and also a book outlet that arrived this month. Again, thank you so much to Arliss for making this happen. And not only that, Arliss also gave me some books, and these are Dune Messiah, the deluxe hardcover edition, similar to the Dune that I just showcased earlier, and also Children of Dune. Beautiful. Yeah, these two are beautiful. They have the same features with an artwork and reversible dust jacket by Matt Griffin, and also the naked hardcover features the wording inside the books. I love this edition very much, and as I said, I will do a second read of Dune, and when that happens, I will continue to Dune Messiah and then Children of Dune and find out how I feel about it. And finally, the last book that Arliss sent to me, it is Lightbringer by Chris Brown. This is one of my most anticipated books of this year, and I am looking forward to finding out whether this can actually top The Will of the Many as my favorite book of the year or not. We will see, because I am still in the middle of reading this right now. Very pumped to read this one. Just the first 4 chapters already made me super tense. And looking at the immensely high ratings right now, it seems like many people agree this is the best book in the Red Rising saga. I mean, it has an average rating of 4.79 out of 8,000 ratings on Goodreads. That is absolutely insane. Insanely high ratings. And yeah, I'm very excited about this. And again, thank you so much to Arliss for sending me all these books and making all my book purchases possible. I also believe that this is the best cover art of the entire series so far. I should also note that this is the Barnes & Noble edition of Lightbringer, and there was so many issues with getting this one. And somehow, even though the Barnes & Noble edition should have come with an exclusive poster, this one doesn't come with any. And yeah, I have no idea why that happened. But either way, I am still happy that I finally have a copy of Lightbringer to read. And for the last 4 books that were gifted to me by one of my patrons, but this time it is not from Arliss, this one is from Barbara, and these are for The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, illustrated edition box set. I finally have a hardcover copy of The Hobbit and also The Lord of the Rings illustrated edition, and they're gorgeous. And yeah, as I said, I look forward to doing a second read of these books eventually, hopefully next year, but again, I cannot promise that. It will have to depend on my reading mood. But when the time comes, I will read from this beautiful edition with an illustration, again by Alan Lee. This is a month of book haul, of sci-fi book haul, and also Lord of the Rings and Middle-earth book haul. Now I will move on to the third section of my book haul video. Time to talk about some self-published fantasy books that were sent to me for reviews. And the first one is this, Sea of Souls by N.C. Scrimgeour. I don't know how to pronounce the name, I apologize. But yeah, this one is supposedly a dark fantasy about with a theme of revenge, and also Sulky is definitely a part of this tale. I think this one is the first book in a trilogy, but again, I could be wrong. But so far on Goodreads, it seems like a lot of people who have read this book really enjoyed it. And also the author has released quite a lot of books after I did some research, and yeah, I look forward to reading this one eventually. This reminded me of the book The Skin by Jenna Hannaford. I haven't read The Skin as well, but Selkie is a huge part of that book, and I'm sure it will be the same for this one, based on the premise that I read anyway. As for the remaining 3 self-published fantasy books that I got, trust me, they are all gorgeous. And the first one is for The King Killing Queen by Sean Speakman. This is an advanced reading copy edition. I think some of you might have known about The King Killing Queen through either The King Must Fall anthology or maybe the Kickstarter campaign for the hardcover and limited edition of The King Killing Queen. And I have read this one. It is a fast-paced and very enjoyable tale. If you are in search of a great fast-paced fantasy book with great characterizations for the main character, I think you cannot go wrong with this one. This is also a historical fantasy. Surprisingly, I enjoyed this one because usually I don't enjoy reading historical fantasy, but not in the case of this one. It helps though that I am a huge fan of Arthurian retelling, and Arthurian is definitely a huge part of the King Killing Queen world building. And yeah, this one has illustrations by Donato Giancola and also this beautiful map by Jared Blando. And yeah, let's take a look at 1 or 2 interior artworks by Donato Giancola. They definitely enhance the quality of the book for me. And they're done in black and white. I am not sure whether the hardcover edition, the final hardcover edition, will have them in full color or not. But I think in total there are about 9 interior artworks, black and white interior artworks inside this book, all of them done by Donato Giancola. And this book is the first out of a trilogy, and it is a prequel to his, I think, Anwin Cycle series. Really great tales, and I look forward to reading the sequel as soon as I can, especially because this one actually ended on the cliffhanger. And the next self-published fantasy book I got is a hardcover edition of Remnant by Christopher Russell. This is the second book in the Divinity's Twilight series. I've read Rebirth, the first book. This is a Stormlight Archive inspired fantasy, a Stormlight Archive and Final Fantasy inspired fantasy series. And I enjoyed the first one. I think I gave it 7 out of 10 as far as rating goes, or 3.5 out of 5 stars. It's really good, and it has a lot of potential for the sequel to be better. And so far, it seems like many readers agree that this one is a vast improvement over the first book. I have a plan to read all 3 books in the series. The third book will be released in 2024, and I have a plan to read all 3 books in the year 2024. And yes, this one has artwork, cover art by Chris McGrath, and then this is numbered edition number 50. Yeah, 50 out of 50. And yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Thank you so much to Christopher Russell for sending me this book. And you know what? This book actually has more than 12 interior artworks. The interior artwork is done by Raphael Luccini, and all of them are done in pencil, like this one. This is one of them. I'm going to show one more. I think it is very nice of Christopher Russell to do this kind of thing for his books, and this kind of interior illustrations, they usually enhance the quality of the narrative for me. And this is another one. Again, all of them are done by Raphael Luccini, and on top of this hardcover, Christopher Russell actually sent me the art print of all the interior artworks inside this book, and I cannot thank him enough. I will definitely read Remnant next year, and I don't know, maybe I will do a second read of Rebirth as well before I read Remnant. We will see. And finally, the last self-published fantasy book I got this month, it is for Illborn Special Edition by Daniel T. Jackson. This one has such a stunning design done by Katrina Paints. And yeah, Katrina Paints is such an incredible artist. I love her artworks very much. They are just so distinctive, and this is just a great example of how great she is at doing this kind of black and white artworks. So stunning. And again, I love this book. I think it is one of the best fantasy debut that I have ever read. And I will keep my fingers crossed that this edition will be applied to the second book as well, I Dual Sin. And yeah, I cannot get enough of Katrina Pain's artwork. I think she is an incredible artist. And case in point, because I just talked about Katrina Pain's, well, the next 2 books I got, they are from the Broken Binding as well. And they features artworks by Katrina Paints. And the first one is The Wolf of Orenyaru, and also the second one is the Ikesar Falcon. Both of them are by K.S. Vilosu. And yeah, they are beautiful. This is the spray edges. See, they connect with one another. And yeah, they are done by Katrina Paints, just like the end paper and naked hardcover inside these books. I'm going to show them to you now. And yeah, this is the end paper of Wolf of Orenyaru, and also this is the wait, hold on. Yeah, this is the naked hardcover. Ta-da! So pretty, right? This is the spine, and this is the back cover. And the same thing is also applied to the Ikesar Falcon. I'm going to show the end paper first. See, this is the end paper, and then ta-da! This is the naked hardcover. Beautiful stuff, and I look forward to receiving my copy of The Dragon of Jin Sayang next month. I actually have read only the first book, The Wolf of Orenyaro, so I definitely will have to do a reread of that one before I continue to the second book, The Ikesar Falcon, and also the third book, The Dragon of Jin Sayang. But again, thank you so much to The Broken Binding for sending me Ilborn Special Edition and also The Wolf of Orenyaro and The Ikesar Falcon. And because The Wolf of Orenyaro and also The Ikesar Falcon are actually published by Orbit Books, it is time to move on to the fourth and final section of this month's book haul video. Time to showcase the books that were sent to me by publishers, and I will start by showing you the books that I got from Orbit Books, probably the kindest publisher to me. And I got 7 books this month, all of them sent to me by Orbit Books. The first one is Boys in the Valley by Philip Fracassi. This is a horror novel, and as I said, I don't usually read horror novel, but I heard so many great things about this one. I think I will read this in the month of October. I will read and review this in the month of October. It has been quite a while since I read and review books published by Orbit, which sounds insane because they are one of my favorite publishers in terms of quality and also cover art. So yeah, I look forward to reading this one. I heard, again, nothing but great things. I think Alex from Tall Guy Reads recently just talked about this, and he gave this one a glowing review as well. Stephen King also really loved The Boys in the Valley. So yeah, I will read this in the month of October. And the next book that I got is Labyrinth's Heart by M.A. Carrick. This is the third and final book in the Rook and Rose trilogy. And I think it features a vigilante, con artist working together to do something to succeed at their quest. Anyway, that's all I know about Rook and Rose trilogy. But for this one, every booktuber I know who have actually read the Rook and Rose trilogy, they all love this. And now that I have the final copy of the third book, I think I will make this one of my priority series to read and review in 2024. It's only the trilogy anyway, and I have to fit a trilogy into my list of priority series because I cannot fit all like 10 book series long into my list of priority series. So yeah, hopefully I will end up loving this one as much as all the other booktubers who love Rook and Rose trilogy. And then I also got The Phoenix King by Aparna Verma. This is a South Asian inspired fantasy novel. And by the way, take a look at this. Ta-da! Apparently all paperback will have this color illustrations over here. I think this looks beautiful. I definitely will not complain with having more paperbacks with artwork over here, just like on paper basically. And this was originally a self-published novel titled The Boy in the Fire, I think, but it has been picked up by Orbit and now it's called The Phoenix King. It has been re-edited as well, and I usually enjoy reading South Asian inspired fantasy, so fingers crossed I will love this one as well. This is the debut novel by Aparna Verma, and I heard this is a great Indian inspired action pack with fire magic and ancient prophecy novel. So yeah, looking forward to reading this eventually. And the next book that I got is the third and final book in the Covenant of Steel trilogy by Anthony Ryan. This is The Traitor. I have read the first book, The Pariah, really enjoyed that one, but I heard from so many readers that the second and the third book, The Martyr and also The Traitor, is a huge improvement. Many have said that this is one of the best books by Anthony Ryan. Because I always consider Bloodsong to be Anthony Ryan's best book, hearing that many people who love Bloodsong mention that this one might be even better, that makes me happy. So I think I will read this one probably next year, even though I really want to fit this into my reading schedule this year. I haven't read The Martyr yet, but on the plus side, The Martyr and also The Traitor actually features a What Happened Before section, so maybe I do not have to reread The Pariah before I dive into The Martyr and then, well, The Traitor. All of them features cover art done by Jamie Jones, and I think, once again, Jamie Jones is such an incredible artist. Everything that he does for cover art, they all turn out so damn good. And this is not an exception, but in my opinion, The Martyr and The Pariah have better cover art. And next, I got a sequel. It is House of Odysseus by Claire North. It is the sequel to Ithaca. And yeah, this is a story of Penelope of Ithaca, as it has never been told before. Beyond Ithaca's shores, the whims of gods dictate the wars of men. But on the Isle, it is the choices of the abandoned women and their goddesses that will change the course of the world. And I think it is honestly quite insane that I haven't read anything by Claire Nor yet. And I think the most popular one has something to do with Harry August or something at the title. But anyway, I look forward to reading this as well. I always love reading Greek-inspired mythology or retelling. And one of my co-bloggers mentioned that everything by Claire Nor is a must read. So yeah, looking forward to that someday. We still have 2 more books sent to me by Orbit Books, and the next one is something that I'm super excited to read about. It is Blade of Dreams by Daniel Abraham. This is the second book in the Kid Tamar trilogy, the sequel to Age of Ash, which shamefully I haven't read it yet. But I think this is a trilogy of standalone novels taking place in the same city of Kid Tamar. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading Age of Ash and probably this one as well within next year. Because if I'm not mistaken, the 3rd book in the Kid Tamar trilogy will be released in the year 2024. And because I have missed reading Daniel Abraham's writing, I will have to make this one of my priority series to read in the year 2024. That's basically the same for The Covenant of Steel by Anthony Ryan that I just mentioned earlier. So I think next year you will see me tackle a lot of these books. But again, I cannot be 100% sure about this because it all depends on my reading mood. But this is a beautiful hardcover, even though this is a standard hardcover, but the hardcover is done by, the artwork is done by Daniel Doshu, and again designed by Lauren Panepinto. Almost everything with beautiful artworks are designed by Lauren Panepinto. I have done an interview with her on my YouTube channel, and it is such a great opportunity to learn about art, design, and many more with her. And the last book that I got from Orbit Books this month just arrived today, and it is No Coincidence by Raphael Luccini. This is a Cyberpunk 2077 novel. Well, I haven't played the video games yet, the Cyberpunk 2077 video game, but I really love the anime adaptation. I think it was amazing, and I hope this novel will be as good as that anime adaptation. But what surprised me most about this, this is so yellow and blue. This is beautiful, right? But apparently, just like Ruination, published by Orbit Books, this comes with a reversible dust jacket. So the reversible dust jacket look like this. See, it is pretty. I think it features the city of Cyberpunk 2077. And yeah, I haven't read this book yet, but do let me know whether you prefer the original cover art or this one. I tend to use reversible dust jacket, and I think I will do the same for this one. Because for Ruination, I also use the reversible dust jacket instead of the standard cover art. See, as I said, that's a lot of books, right, sent to me by Orbit Books. I'm truly grateful because they are one of the few traditional publishers who always send me books to read and review. Even though I gave some of their books a negative review, they still gave me books to read and review, and that really makes me glad. And moving on to the final 2 books that I got this month, these are sent to me by Gollancz and also Tor UK. The first one by Gollancz is The Pattern of the World by J.T. Greathouse. This is the 3rd and final book in the Pact and Pattern trilogy. I really love The Hand of the Sun King. I featured it on quite plenty of videos on my YouTube channel. It is such a great coming-of-age fantasy series, and also the first book, The Hand of the Sun King, is one of my favorite fantasy debut. Now the second book is not as good as The Hand of the Sun King, but I'm hoping that The Pattern of the World will conclude the trilogy satisfyingly. Yes, this is the final book again, and I look forward to reading this. I really want to fit this into my reading schedule this year. Let's see whether that's possible or not. And the same thing can also be mentioned to this final book, and it is He Who Drowned the World by Shelley Parker Chan. This is the second book, the second and the final book in the Radiant Emperor duology, the sequel to She Who Became the Sun. And yeah, I really love She Who Became the Sun, and I hope this will be a satisfying conclusion to the duology. But it seems like many who have read this agree that He Who Drowned the World is even better than She Who Became the Sun, and that's really promising to me. So yeah, that's it. That's the end of this month's book haul video. It has been pretty insane the past few months. The number of books I got have been pretty insane, and I will not take this for granted, especially considering where I live. And I want to say thank you so much to Arliss, Pamela, and also all the publishers and authors who keep sending me books to read and review. Reading is a huge part of my life, and I cannot thank you enough for keep sending me books to read and review. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it from me today. Do let me know what you think about my book haul, which books you see in my book haul video that you think are the most interesting, and also let me know what are the most recent books that you got this month. As always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support. Bye bye. Lastly, I want to say thank you so much once again to all my patrons who keep on supporting me.